What's up, everyone? Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be giving you the top 10 loadouts you can be using right now in Warzone 3 after this most recent update. Now, we did just get an update that did include buffs for the MTZ 556. The Holger 556 got a slight adjustment to its recoil pattern to make it more predictable, and we even got a buff to the Striker SMG and the M16 from Modern Warfare 2. So we're going to give you loadouts for all of those, of course, and then some bonus loadouts as well. These are going to be in no particular order, and I always recommend use what's most comfortable to you. A lot of these will be mix and match for you, so you can mix any of these ARs or long range options with any of these SMG options. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that noti bell, and hit that like button so you don't miss another video like this. Let's get into it. All right, so for this first set of loadouts, we're going to go with the Lockman 556 and the Lockman sub. A lot of people have been asking me for a Lockman sub build. I love the Lockman sub. It doesn't have the fastest TTK, but it's still very usable and a lot of fun to run, especially when you're going to throwback and trying to do a throwback loadout just for nostalgia reasons. It's pretty good, and it received a slight buff this past update too, so take it for what it's worth. It's fun to use. Let's get you a loadout for it. So for this Lockman 556, we're going with the Cassis Break muzzle, the Lockman wrap barrel, the Bruin heavy support grip underbarrel, the 60 round mag, and the Jack glassless optic. So this two here in the firing range. It's very accurate, a lot of fun to run, very low recoil, pretty decent TTK on it as well. For that Lockman sub, we're going with the Zimmer 35 compensated muzzle, DR6 hand stop underbarrel. I like the high grain rounds here, going with the 50 round drum and the FT mobile stock. So this one too here in the firing range. Mobility is pretty good, not terrible. TTK is okay, pretty accurate too. For this next set of loadouts, we're going to go with the WSP 9. I like the Zimmer 35 compensated muzzle, the WSP Reckless 90 long barrel. I like the DR6 hand stop underbarrel here, the 50 round mag, and the WSP Classics factory stock. So this two here in the firing range. WSP 9 is just, the TTK on it is so good, and you can use it even at a longer range if you wanted to. Next, we have the TAC 56. I like the Cassis Break muzzle, the Tundra Pro barrel, the Bruin heavy support grip underbarrel, the 60 round mag, and the Jack glassless optic. And as always, the TAC 56 has barely any recoil at all, and actually the TTK on it is really solid right now too. Next up, I've been testing the TAC V from Modern Warfare 2. A lot of fun to run as well. I've got this paired with a Striker 9, which is without a doubt in the top 5 SMGs to use right now. For that Striker 9, we're going with the Zimmer 35 compensated muzzle, the XRK Edge hand stop, or the DR6 hand stop, either one you prefer, the 50 round drum, the Jack glassless optic, or any other optic that makes you comfortable. And I like that Lockman MK2 light stock here. And then let's show you the Striker 9 here real quick. Very easy to control recoil and pretty high TTK as well. Then for that TAC V, we're going with the Cassis Break L muzzle, the Precision barrel, the Chimera Rhine 03 vertical grip, the 50 round drum, and I like the Corio Eagle's Eye 2.5 times scope on this one. So this one here in the firing range, got a little bit of kick, but man, if you can control this thing, it's really solid. Next, I have the Ram 9, and I've been using the Bass B this week as well. I think the Bass B might be making a comeback with all these nerfs around these other weapons. It felt pretty good this week, but try it for yourself. Let me know what you think. But I like the Ram 9 here. We're going with the Speedway B5 short barrel, the XRK Edge hand stop underbarrel, the 50 round mag, the Haste XV grip tape, and the Recon comb. Those two here in the firing range. I think the Ram 9 it's still pretty solid up close, got really good movement as well. So, people still like it, people still like using it, and I don't blame them. Then for this Bass B, we're going with the Cassis Break L muzzle, the Bruin Venom long barrel, the Bruin heavy support grip underbarrel, the 45 round mag, and the Corio Eagle's Eye 2.5 times scope. So this one too here in the firing range, I've really been enjoying on this week. Very little recoil on this thing, especially with that the Cassis Break muzzle. Very interesting. A lot of fun to run. Got two nostalgic builds here for you from Modern Warfare 2 as well, and from Warzone 1. Got the M4 and the M13. I know I've gotten some comments on the M13 this week. I'm definitely going to be using it this week to try it out even more, and especially the M4. But these two builds right here are really solid. Very little recoil, obviously, especially the M13. So we did get a nerf to not a nerf, really it's a buff to these MW2 weapons. They got rid of most of the smoke that comes out of the muzzle on a lot of these loadouts. So they're really a lot more usable powerful than they were at the start of Warzone 3, basically. So once that Rebirth Island update hit, they got rid of a lot of smoke, which is a lot better now. So for this M13, we're going with the Cassis Break muzzle, the Bruin Echelon barrel, the Bruin Heavy Support Grip underbarrel, the 60 round mag, and I like the Jack Glassless Optic here. All right, and now for this M13, there's just no recoil on the M13. It's so easy to control, man. So much fun to run. A little lower TTK than that M4, I think, but again, man, M13 just doesn't move, and so it's a lot of fun to run. And then for the M4, we got the Cassis Break muzzle, the High Tower barrel, the Bruin Heavy Support Grip underbarrel specifically for the idle soy, 60 round mag, and the Jack Glassless Optic. So these two here in the firing range, this M4 is really solid. Pretty decent TTK, it seems like. I can't wait to try it out a lot more this week, but man, I mean, I'm 17 rounds left after 3 test dummies. I'm okay with that. Well, next loadout, we've got the BP50 and the SOA Subverter. SOA Subverter is still so good. TTK is the best out of the long range options as far as TTK goes, but it does have a lot more gun kick the longer you shoot it, more so than the MTZ 556 that we'll get into. But the BP50, very solid for sniper support and solos and duos. So if you play a lot of solos and duos, this is a very solid TTK AR, very easy to control recoil, all that good stuff. Very solid to use in solos and duos. And the SOA Subverter is good any way you use it. So for that BP50, we're going with the Zeman 35 compensated muzzle, the Lore 90 heavy barrel, the Bruin Heavy Support Grip underbarrel, the 45 round mag, and that Jack Glassless Optic. Now for this BP50, the BP50 is so easy to use, man. It's so much fun to run. Again, very solid in solos and duos. As you can see, after 3 test dummies, we had 7 bullets there. So that's the reason I say solos and duos probably only for this, just because there's just not quite enough ammo. That was a really solid one there, though. We got 12 left, but again, to each their own there. Very solid build. Then for the SOA Subverter, we're going with the Zeman compensated flash muzzle, the Dozer 90 long barrel, the Bruin Heavy Support Grip underbarrel, the 50 round drum, and again, that Jack Glassless Optic. I'll show you this Subverter here real quick. Again, very little recoil. The problem I have with the Subverter is a little bit more downrange like that. Just, it's got only a 50 round mag also, so it gets a little iffy down here for me personally. Just takes a little bit more control at that longer range. You know, maybe we put the Cassis Break L muzzle on it, try it that way. I think that was a lot easier for me to use the last time. So if you're having a little trouble down range, that Cassis Break muzzle will help that a lot. Next, we have the SVA 545 and the Holger 556. Obviously, you're not going to pair two long range ARs like this together. These are strictly just for longer ranges for you to pair with another SMG or short range option. Completely up to you there. But the SVA 545 is very solid. And the Holger 556 did receive that slight recoil buff. So I actually took the barrel off this one and it felt a lot better. So for the SVA 545, Zeman 35 compensated muzzle, precision barrel, high grain rounds, 60 round mag, Corio Eagle's Eye, 2.5 times scope. Very easy to run. Again, zero recoil when you have it in single fire mode as well. And then of course the SVA 545, single fire mode, just there's no recoil, man, at all. Just wild. And that Holger 556 Cassis Break muzzle, Bruin Heavy Support Grip underbarrel. I like the Jack Glassless Optic here, the 40 round mag, and the Adel Assault stock here really hones in that recoil. I switched it out for the barrel. Felt a lot better to me. So for that Holger 556, we'll show you that too here in the firing range. Felt like a lot less recoil than it does with that barrel on it. So completely up to you there. Now for this M16, the M16 did get a buff. It might be usable now. I'm still going to do some more testing. I used it once. It felt okay. I didn't get enough situations to where I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. So still kind of trying to get in those situations. But then I'm pairing this up with the Striker. The Striker did get a buff, but I'm pairing it up with a Striker AR version to kind of help. It's perfectly fine short range and real good at mid range. So if you get into some situations with the M16 where you're in trouble, switch this Striker AR. Very solid. Or you can run the Striker AR with something else. Completely up to you. Very good sniper support. Loving loving this as sniper support. So check it out. Let me know what you think. But this M16, we're going with the Cassis Break muzzle, the Bruin Heavy Support Grip underbarrel. We're not going with a barrel here. You get some more recoil control with this barrel here, the Carbine Shroud, but in my opinion, not worth it because you're losing effective damage range, and strictly for this M16, that damage range is pretty important. So everything takes away from the damage range and bullet velocity here, except for you get a little bit more bullet velocity with the Carbine Shroud. So if you do use a barrel, use the Carbine Shroud. I'm not using a barrel on it. You get, look, I mean, you get the longest barrel here. That's just the default barrel. So I'm just going to add the high grain rounds to really bump up that bullet velocity and effective damage range. It's just a better option. You get a little bit more recoil, gun kick, but I don't think that's really that important for this particular weapon when I'm using it. And then we have the Bruin Heavy Support Grip underbarrel, 60 round mag here, and the Jack Glassless optic. I'll show this to you here in the firing range. Try it out for yourself. It's very interesting when it comes to the TTK. I don't know. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't. I'm not a burst fire weapon person. So I'm not that kind of player. I don't play like that. I don't play with those kinds of weapons often, just because they're not ever broken enough to play with like that. The SVA 545 maybe being an outlier there for me, but I did have fun with the SVA 545. So with the Striker AR, we're going with the Zeman 35 compensated muzzle, the Striker Elite long barrel, the Bruin Heavy Support Grip underbarrel, 60 round drum, and the Corio Eagle's Eye 2.5 times scope. And this thing just, it doesn't move. It is so good. I don't know what else to tell you. You got to be using this thing. Like, you don't get that kind of TTK with ARs. Like, that's 6 dummies full plated with only 60 rounds. That's incredible. That's very good if you're wondering. All right, so for these last two loadouts are my favorite to run. This one right here, the HRM9 and the Bruin, they're my favorite to run in ranked. This is my ranked loadout 100% of the time. The next one is the MTZ556, and I've got a really fun movement striker. The striker did get a buff, like we said. I got a movement one that I tried on stream. Somebody challenged me to try the movement striker on stream the other night. Used it, love it. So we're gonna give you the loadouts for that. Have fun with it. Let me know what you think. But this HRM9, going with the Zeman 35 compensated flash, Thorn 90 barrel, XRK Edge hand stop, or the DR6 hand stop, whichever you prefer, 50 round drum, and the folding stock. HRM9, this thing barely loses as well. A lot of fun running this thing. Technically the WSP9 is better, but that WSP9 has that open bolt delay, so use that at your own risk. Completely up to you there. Bruin, I'm running the Cassis Break muzzle, Horizon V2 barrel, Bruin Heavy Support Grip underbarrel, 60 round mag to make it feel more like an AR, give it a lot more movement, and the Jack Glassless optic. Show this Bruin to you here in the firing range. This is without a doubt my favorite loadout to be running. It's so good, dude. It barely moves. I mean, it even wins close range gunfights too. So almost 6 dummies with 60. So very solid. Now for this MTZ556 that did get a buff, the buff helped it a ton. Love this thing now. I've always put the MCW over the MTZ556, but the MCW long range, not great at all. Take that for what it's worth. And then I've got the striker right here with it, the movement striker, very fun to run as well. Before I give you that loadout, I want to give you one more. All right, this is the #1 sniper support period right now, and that is the MCW SMG. You probably were wondering the whole time if I was going to give it to you at all. Yeah, of course I am. So I've got 2 builds for you. We're going to go with the Chimera Silent Shot. This is going to be more of a movement build. Still got the great TTK, going with the DR6 hand stop underbarrel, blackout high grain rounds, the 40 round mag, and you have to have that Jack Raven kit on there. Okay, for the second build, we're going to take off the barrel. We're going to put the Zeman 35 compensated muzzle on it. We're going to take off the DR6 hand stop underbarrel, add the Cyclone long barrel, and run a sight on it. You can run slate reflector, Jack Glassless. I really like this NIDAR model sight on it as well, so completely up to you there. Take off the high grain rounds in order to put a sight on there. Really fun to use for sure. This thing is just good any way you run it. Very little recoil, and you can even use it long range if you want to, but this is definitely mid-range, short range build. You're just not losing a lot of gunfights with the MCW right now at all. Now for the MTZ556 and that movement striker. For the MTZ556, we're going with the Cassis Break muzzle, MTZ Drifter Heavy long barrel, Bruin Heavy Support Grip underbarrel, Jack Glassless optic, and the 50 round drum. And then that MTZ556, This thing, dude, this thing is an absolute beam. I wish we just had a 60 round mag for it. It's got a 50, which is fine. So I just wish we had that 60 round mag for it, but you know, to each their own. For that movement striker, got the Zim 35 compensated flash. Striker stubby barrel, which gives it insane movement speed. DR6 hand stop under barrel. 48 round mag. You can run the 60 if you want to. It's going to slow you down quite a bit, but 48 round mag here and no stock. And you're probably wondering with the no stock how the recoil is going to work. Recoil's fine. You do get a lot of gun sway here, so you're gonna have to be careful with that. But the striker's so accurate regardless that you're not going to have any issues. I mean, that's still have 14 bullets left at that point. Very, very fun to run, man, especially close range, which is kind of what you're going to be running it for anyway. But if you guys like this video, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that noti bell so you don't miss another video like this or like any of these. We'll see you in the next one.